Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unpack the hidden stories in company filings. Today we're diving into an announcement that smells a little bit like a do. Over or perhaps a wait, we need to clarify this situation from ABVC BioPharma Incorporated. So ABVC BioPharma Incorporated is filing an amended report, specifically a Form 8K-R. Think of an 8K as a big news announcement for publicly traded companies. Something important just happened, and 8K-DR means they're going back and adding to or correcting information they previously filed. The date that really sticks out here as the earliest event reported is the 30th of April 2025, but the report itself is dated the 16th of January 2026. This tells us they are amending something that happened a while ago. Let's get straight to the juicy part. The main reason for this amendment is to provide more details about unregistered sales of equity securities. Basically, they sold some company stock without making a big public registration fanfare, and they're clarifying the details now. Now, before we dive into the sales themselves, let's quickly touch on what is registered. Their common stock is traded on the Nasdaq stock market LLC under the ticker symbol ABVC. This means it is a company that is already on a major exchange, so any stock sales, even unregistered ones, usually need careful reporting. So here is the story back between April and May of last year, 2025. The company says they sold about 1.99 million shares of their common stock to 43 investors who were not us persons. This was done under something called Regulation S, which is a specific set of rules for selling securities outside the US. They raised about $1.29 million from this. What is interesting here is that these investors also agreed to transfer their voting rights to the company's chairman, Eugene Zhang, for as long as the law allows. This is a pretty significant concentration of voting power, but wait, there is more. From May 2025 all the way into January 2026, they accepted even more subscriptions totaling an additional $2.28 million. For these additional sales, they issued another 1.5 million shares. The price for these shares varied between $1 and $1.95 each. Now, these additional shares represent about a 5.92% chunk of the company's total outstanding stock as of the filing date. This is a pretty noteworthy percentage, and it came from sales that weren't publicly registered. The company is stating they relied on the buyers to confirm they were accredited investors, meaning they are wealthy enough to be considered less susceptible to investment risks, and also that they were non-us persons. They also emphasized that these sales were not public offerings, meaning they weren't advertised to everyone, and were made without general solicitation or advertising. The shares are also subject to restrictions on resale into the US for a period of time. So, let's break down what this all means. ABVC BioPharma Inc. is essentially telling us they've been actively raising capital through private placements, primarily to international investors. The fact that this is an amendment suggests they might have initially not provided enough detail, or that there were some nuances they needed to clarify regarding these transactions. The voting rights proxy agreement is a key piece here, concentrating control with the chairman, which could significantly influence future company decisions without broad shareholder input. The price range for the stock also indicates some fluctuation in demand or perceived value during these offering periods. Looking at the exhibits, we see references to the original filings for the form of voting rights proxy agreement and the form of purchase agreement. These are the documents that lay out the terms of these private sales, including that voting rights transfer. They also include what is called a cover page interactive data file formatted in inline XBRL, which is basically a standardized digital format for financial reporting meant to make it easier for computers to read and process. And finally, the report is signed by Uttam Patil, the Chief Executive Officer, as of the 16th of January 2026, confirming the company's acknowledgement of these filings. So what is our take on ABVC BioPharma, incorporated after looking at this amendment? On one hand, it shows the company is actively seeking and securing funding, which is crucial for any biotech firm needing capital for research and development. The international focus through Regulation S also suggests a strategy to tap into global markets for investment. However, the significant concentration of voting power with the chairman via these proxy agreements raises questions about corporate governance and future decision-making independence. The fact that these are unregistered sales also means they are not subject to the same level of public scrutiny as a registered offering. Although they have opted for an amendment to provide more transparency retrospectively, the company's reliance on accredited investor status and non-us person definitions suggests they are working within established exemptions. But the overall picture is one of a company navigating capital raising in a way that prioritizes speed and access, potentially at the cost of broader, more conventional shareholder engagement. The key risks here lie in the potential for future control issues stemming from the voting rights concentration and the continued need for capital without diluting existing shareholders too much through further unregistered sales. It will be interesting to watch how these concentrated voting rights play out in the company's strategic direction. Alright, that is our breakdown of this ABVC BioPharma Incorporated filing. What are your thoughts on these unregistered sales and the voting rights concentration? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this analysis helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. And don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description for even more discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.